What up, cucks? It's your boy, the hater, up in this piece. And you know what they say, a video a day keeps the hater getting paid. Now, with all that being said, let me put something up for discussion. Okay, we talked about good wrestlers. Now we'll talk about horrible wrestlers that, in my opinion, need to be released immediately, right? Now, some of these guys people like, right? Some of them have some redeemable qualities. They're not all zeros, right? But their trajectory is going towards Zeroville. So I say we cut the umbilical cord and we throw them down the street. Beat it, jabrones. No longer will you be spoon-fed money from WWE or, in some cases, AEW. Number one, Malachi Black and everybody else involved with him. Malachi Black has always been lame. There was a point where he was slightly entertaining in NXT when he first debuted, just because his presentation was, I don't want to say unique, because there's nothing unique about a guy pretending he's evil, right? Like, we've seen that a lot in wrestling. But he came out in a coffin. He had some pretty good matches. His match with Velveteen Dream was really good, I thought. So he's not a complete jobber, but, like, he never should have been. I think he was NXT champion. He never should have been NXT champion. That was just stupid. Like, you just look at this guy and you're like, this guy's never going to become, like a star, right? But whatever, it is what it is. In AEW, he's achieved absolutely nothing. Get rid of him. Andrade, get rid of him. I don't have anything to say about this jobber. He's done nothing. He's been in AEW for like 3 years. He's done absolutely nothing. Pac. I don't know what Pac's role is in AEW, but this guy, this cocksucker, comes by, does 3 matches, then goes away for 9 months. So he's done as far as I'm concerned, right? He's one of the better ones, or he was, but it's over. Like, who cares about Pac? Now, that being said, I will say this. WWE is no different. We have a lot of jobbers in this company, and in my opinion, have no business being there. Number one, Gunther and Imperium. It didn't work out, right? A stable cannot function only on the idea that one of their guys is the mid-card champion. As a matter of fact, a stable whose leader is a mid-card champion just sucks, because it really makes the tag team look like jobbers, right? Because it's like, unless Gunther's going to become world champion, then how am I supposed to believe that Marcel Bartel and the other guy, Giovanni Vinci, are going to become tag team champions? It's like, it's absurd. First of all, you have the Creed brothers and like other legitimate tag teams that look badass. So like, how are they going to beat them, right? It is what it is. Another group that I don't like, I thought I would, but I don't. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. I would consider keeping Channing Stacks Lorenzo, but Tony D'Angelo is just garbage. This guy is just like a fat little ball. Like, there's nothing interesting about him at all. His gimmick was a complete flop from the beginning. That's why he had to turn face. It's stupid. Andre Chase from NXT, get rid of him as well. This guy stinks. All of that crap stinks. Joe Gacy, get rid of him. It's been overplayed. Nobody cares. I hate to say it, The Rock's daughter. This girl, I don't want to say it, but I will. Like, every week, this girl's just like, she just looks more and more like Nia Jax. It's like her clothes are starting to resemble that of Nia Jax. She's not good at what she does. She's not athletic. She's not charismatic. She's just boring. She's also young, so she may have something there. I'm not saying she's at zero, She's The Rock's daughter, after all. I'm sure she can learn some of that delivery and some of that charisma, but because it's got to be in there somewhere. But it's like right now, it's just, it screams nepotism and it's not entertaining and nobody wants her there. Now, with that being said, let's move on to some people that I like. Dexter Lumis. I don't know if he's still with the company. And Cameron Grimes. Time to go. It didn't work out, motherfuckers. It didn't work out. And that's kind of the moral of this video. There's nothing wrong with it not working out. It didn't work out. Right? Here's an example. What was his name? He had a name in, I forget, Solomon Crowe. Solomon Crowe, which is a pretty cool name, actually. In WWE, Sami Callihan in the Indies. Sami Callihan, it didn't work out in WWE. So he left, and he reinvented himself as Sami Callihan, which was, in my opinion, one of the better indie wrestlers around, right? So, give yourself a chance, but don't just sit there and take the paycheck. I don't want to say pull a Cody Rhodes, because I understand Cameron Grimes is not the son of Dusty Rhodes, so he's not going to get booked in New Japan, right? It's not as easy for most people as it is for Cucky. But take a shot on yourself, right? And now, the rest of this video will be a discussion of one of the worst things that I've ever seen, right? And that is, I'm going to just say it, Montes Ford, all right? Enough of this guy. Remember how, last year, people thought that by this WrestleMania, Montes Ford was going to be in the main event? And I said, this will never happen. Remember, it was around Elimination Chamber where they're like, this is it. This is the beginning of the push for Montes Ford. No, it isn't. And I told everybody, no, it isn't. Absolutely not. Montes Ford is a jobber. This guy's never going to be a world champion, right? If he is, a lot of things have to fall into place. It's going to be like a Jey Uso type push, right? The reality is, Montes Ford, I mean, I hate to say fire him because, you know, in the tag team, he's obviously the better guy, right? He's obviously better than Angelo Dawkins, who is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This guy just has like no personality whatsoever. This guy is just like a loser. He's a geek. He's a dork. I don't care if he played Division I football. He was probably the dork over there too. I don't like him, and he needs to go. Now, at least his character, maybe the guy himself, you know, it's very possible. Just like Elijah Burke, you know, when they had Elijah Burke, you're like, oh, this guy sucks. And then Pope D'Angelo De Niro, he was able to show some personality. You're like, wow, this guy's amazing. Maybe that's going to happen with Angelo Dawkins. Somehow I highly doubt it. But Montes Ford is just a goof. He's just a goof. So what's the point of this guy being there, right? He's just a goof they're trying to turn serious. It's not working out, right? This whole Lashley Street Profits thing has gone nowhere for like 6 months. I'm already bored of it, you know? So what's going to happen? They're going to go back to being goofs? Great. What happened to Montes Ford's push, right? It was never going to happen, just like I said from the beginning. And, you know, that's the problem with the wrestling community, right? They really are stupid. They don't have an eye for talent at all. They're like, oh, Montes Ford, this guy's going to be the champion. Based on what? Based on what? Based on the fact that he's 135 pounds? Based on the fact that he's got gyno, right? Or what appears to be gyno, I should say. I don't know what it is, right? You can't have a champion that has gyno. You just can't, bro. It's just not going to, like, it's not going to fly. People are going to be like, why does this guy have tits? You know? Otherwise, he's entertaining, right? Like, he's got some, you know, something there. I don't think he's charismatic at all, but he can cut a promo if need be. Like, you know, he can say a few things that are entertaining. He can hype up the crowd. He's like a hype man, right? You don't really need that much charisma to be a hype man, but he's got hype man charisma. So that's, you know, you can put him in a revamped cruiserweight division and have him feud with like Leo Rush when you bring him back or something along those lines. That's basically all this guy's ever going to amount to. I mean, like, he's just, unfortunately, he's not big enough to be this, like, world-class wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, he's just, like, you know, he might look reasonably sized, you know, against, like, a Seth Rollins, right? He's a little bit smaller than Seth Rollins, even. Seth Rollins is like a cruiserweight, let's not forget, right? But if you put him in the ring with, like, Randy Orton, it's just absurd, right? It just looks like he's a boy. Randy Orton's a man. You can see this when you put him next to Lashley as well. It's like, come on, I mean, this is just absurd. Like, Lashley would just murder this guy. Like, the idea that at some point the Street Profits are going to, like, probably, you know, rise up against Lashley is just absurd. It's just silly. It's like, no, Lashley would beat them both up. Like, it's silly, right? The only thing that they might be good for is if they turn heel on Lashley and the storyline just becomes Lashley just demolishes them both, like double pins them at WrestleMania after stacking them one on top of each other and things like that, right? These guys need to go, right? There's something there, but it just didn't work out. Again, like I said, the theme of this video is just that. It didn't work out. Speaking of it didn't work out, right? A bunch of the women wrestlers need to go, right? Piper Niven, it didn't work out. Her tag team partner, whoever it is, didn't work out. It just didn't, man. You know, yeah, you know, Ava Marie and Emma and things like that. And these girls get released all the time, right? Like, how many times has Emma been released? You know what I mean? Like, 5-6 times. It just didn't work out, right? For some reason, Piper Niven and Nikki Cross is still there for some reason. It's very strange, honestly. Like, what is she doing in this company? It doesn't make any sense at all that Nikki Cross is even in this company still. But there she is, taking up valuable money, right? This is the kind of list where I would definitely include, like, you know, Dolph Ziggler, right? Except, of course, obviously, he is, you know, released already. But a bunch of these guys that are there just need to go because they don't really have a spot on the card. And all they're doing is just taking up space. I mean, let's be real. Another one would be like Noam Dar. This guy's been in the company like 10 years. Has done absolutely nothing. Has not drawn one dime. Like literally, I really don't think that one person has spent $1 in WWE because of Noam Dar, right? Like, it's like if you're in the main event, you can make the argument that someone might buy an extra drink to watch the main event, right? But even then, I wouldn't say that that's a Noam Dar thing. It's just more like a main event thing, right? It's like, you know, you can put anything in the main event. Like, If the main event is like, Kalisto versus Dragon Lee, people are going to stay because they paid money to see it, so they might as well see it, and they might as well go buy a drink to make them like watch this garbage, right? But let's be real, beyond that kind of scenario, people like Noam Dar and Dragon Lee are never going to draw one penny, right? They're never going to sell big merch, right? If any merch at all, right? And the merch that they do sell, the 5 t-shirts that Noam Dar may have sold, if he's even gotten a t-shirt, it's just not gonna be sufficient, right? Whereas you look at, for example, how much money Rey Mysterio has made for WWE, or Randy Orton has made for WWE, it's just not even close, right? So we need to start vetting some of these fools, and we need to get rid of a lot of them. And with that being said, get wrecked, cucks.